Welcome to another episode of the Bamboo Season Podcast. I'm your host, sober fitness coach Dorian Warmsley, and this podcast is all about transformation and growth. Before I introduce today's guest, I would like to dedicate this episode to a friend of mine who recently passed away, Henry Sneed. This gentleman recently passed, unfortunately. I don't know the full details, but when I was a coach at Orange Theory, he took my class, he did workshops for us, and it's unfortunate because he was one of the reasons I felt and like I could become a speaker. You know, he was great with speaking. He has a great wife, kids. He owned a chapel. Some of you may know him here in Las Vegas Valley. So rest in peace to my man, Henry Sneed. Thank you for inspiring me, wanting and feeling I can be the greatest speaker ever. With that being said, today's guest is very important because like I just mentioned, I was unable to give the flowers to Henry, man. It's tough. And as the past few months have went on or years, I've always spoke of this, my guest that I'm bringing on, in a light. And when I speak about him, I realize like, damn, I never even told this man how much he's inspired me, how much he helped me become the man I am now and who I'm going to continue to be. So with that being said, I want to bring on my man, Max Terrell.
What's up? Thanks for
What up,
having me
my
on.
man?
It's an honor.
So for those who don't know, my man Max was a manager at Orange Theory.
Yeah.
And when I was looking to figure out my life and I was trying to get certified as a coach, I didn't know where I wanted to go, how I was going to start. And I saw Orange Theory. And I was like, all right, it's a gym right down the street. Let me go there as a sales associate, work my way in, and then hopefully become a coach. So Max, thank you for coming. I appreciate you taking the time, coming straight from work and you're fresh fit, no socks.
Yeah, as always.
So tell us a little bit,
socks.
who you are, what do you do, a little bit about your family life. Let's dig into it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was awesome meeting you at OTF. Also, just watching you grow. I know, just coming from where I came from and the way I was brought up, I didn't really have, much instruction on how to do anything. My dad wasn't really in my life or not really around most of the time. So that made life or, navigating by, touch and feel, what's that saying I'm looking for? Like when you don't touch the hot stove, I got to learn myself. And so that really, I think, helped me in life because it did teach me to go through some failures in life and have to get back up at a very young age. Now kind of looking back at it, I can kind of see how that definitely helped to mold me. I grew up in St. George, Utah. Was I enjoyed my time out there. I snowboarded a lot. Honestly, that's probably why I didn't graduate high school.
Okay, so you didn't graduate high school. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had to get my GED later on in life. I didn't get that till I moved out here in Vegas. Snowboarded all the time though. Like my mom, thank God, love her. She'd always buy me a season pass. My snowboard gear, I'd bring it home, it'd be soaking wet, right? And it was on a school day, and she'd be like, "Why is your gear wet?" And I'd be like, "Oh, it's from the weekend, Mom." And then I'd get ready for school. My cousin would come pick me up the next day in the Suburban. We'd go up to Bryan Head. It was always a blast.
How far is Bryan Head from St. George?
Like 45 minutes.
Oh, damn, you're living a dream. You can just drive up there. Okay.
Yeah, it was a blast for sure. Always enjoyed my time out there. But just always hung out with a different crowd. And got into drugs and alcohol a lot then.
Okay.
From there, I was a cook at Scaldoni's. That was awesome. I learned how to cook. Learned a lot about kind of growing up from one of my chefs, Johnny. He actually had the craziest personality, but him and my good friend Justin got me the job.
How old were you at this time?
I was 18, 17 when I got the job at Scaldoni's. Okay. And then just cooked. And ran into my brother-in-law at the time. He wasn't my brother-in-law at this time, but he would always come into Scaldoni's and he'd always want me to cook him a steak. And he did telemarketing, and we did business, or he did at the time was business coaching. So from there, we'd just always hang out after. I'd clean up the kitchen. We'd go drink. We'd do whatever. I remember having a party one time, and at Scaldoni's, and my sister came because she had just recently got divorced. She was going through a tough time. Anyways, they met, they kicked it off, and they started dating. Anyways, long story short, I moved in with my sister just to kind of help her out in the time, probably to help me out more. But he was like always trying to get me to go. My sister was like, Max, you should just try sales. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I remember a lot of people always, one of the line cooks was like, oh, it's a niche. You gotta be born into it. And I was like, okay, just kind of whatever. So I started doing it on the side of Scaldoni's, and I remember getting my first deal. And I remember one of the people was like, hey, you just made $3,000. And I was like, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, I called Johnny that day, and I was like, hey, Johnny, I got to put in my 2 weeks, man. This is
Damn. What'd you sell?
Business coaching at the time. We did 2-part close. We did a setter, closer. You split the deal.
Who are you selling? Whose business coaching are you selling?
So we had just different gurus online.
Really?
I remember one of them was the Rich Jerk, and his video was so absurd. He was, you want to make money like I do? And he would wipe his butt with like $100 bill. And
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And they would go on and buy like a business program. And then from there, we would give him a call and did business coaching there for a little bit. I got out of that because I mean, the first day into telemarketing, I'll never forget setting my phone down, and then right behind me there, a kid was doing just a line of cocaine, and I was like, okay, okay. So definitely got into just heavy drugs through that. Moved out here, tried to get clean. Didn't really help out in Vegas. One thing I do love about Vegas, it was really sink or swim, man. So,
well, we'll go back. So at the telemarketing, that's when you started digging into drugs?
Oh yeah. I was only really like smoking weed at the time and drinking, and I started getting into like pain pills a little bit at the end of being a cook. I mean, it was just kind of around, like that was like the crowd I was hanging out with. I remember oxycodones were huge then, and in St. George, not a lot of people like to get drunk, but they loved to get high on pills. And it was cool because the doctor prescribed it to me. So, I'm not really sinning that much.
What happened for the doctor to be able to prescribe it? Like, what, did you have any injury or something? Or you just knew?
Man, back then the doctors were prescribing anything and everything.
Really?
I remember my good friend, he's no longer with us. We went to his pain doctor, and he went in with my ID and got an x-ray of his back because he was in a wreck. And got my name on the x-ray, and then I would bring the x-ray into the doctor, and they were cash only. They did not accept insurance. I was like, legit, like, cool, that's what I'm looking for. And then we would get a script at Oxy 80s. We would sell it to people in Salt Lake for literally $1 a milligram, if not more.
Damn.
And it was like, it would go so crazy. I mean, it was a real bad time in my life.
So from the cook job to the telemarketing job, you were already smoking weed and doing pills.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember I got arrested a couple times before I actually left St. George to go to Vegas, and that's really why I got out of it, St. George. So I was smoking a cigarette out at the telemarketing job that we worked at, 555 South Bluff now at St. George. It was one of the dopest like buildings there. It was really cool. Anyways, I was out at the pavilion, and these bike cops rolled up. They're like, hey, Mr. Terrell. And I was like, man, my
How'd they know you?
They knew my, like, dude.
Well, St. George is small, I guess.
Yeah, very small town. And it was like, I had 21, 22 minor consumptions at that time. Like, I was in it. Like, they were always busting a party you were at. I was always running from them, like that cat and mouse game. Very stupid, but very ignorant time of my life.
Yeah.
Gosh, I hope my kids don't hear this. No, I'm just kidding.
They're going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to send it to them.
For sure.
As soon as they become of age. Directly.
But yeah, I was in and out of jail a couple times. Ended up going back in. I had a warrant out for my arrest, so I thought they were going to try to arrest me then. Went back inside because they didn't arrest me. They rode off. And then I would go to leave, and I'm with my brother-in-law. And I'd end up just grabbing what I needed for the night. Like, what was going to hold me over for the morning to get back to work. And I left the rest of my stash at work.
Enough for you to use.
Yeah. So
how much was that?
It was $280s. I was going to use that night and then come back the next morning and have my supply.
Like each pill's 80 milligrams?
Yeah.
You do two like right away, or like one and then one later? How long does it last?
Yeah.
I never done that.
I was awful then. I was always like just more. That's my mentality. I mean,
Yeah.
one of my roommates, unfortunately, he's no longer with us either. He used to always say, "Man, your mom named you right, Max, because you max out everything."
Damn.
And
Max out those milligrams.
for
Shit.
sure. Anyways, I was walking up to my brother-in-law's truck because we were driving together at the time, and I get in, and all of a sudden I see them just pedaling up, lights
fucking weak.
flashing, and I put my hand in my pocket, and they open the door real quick and get me out, and they're like, "You got a warrant out for your arrest." They search me, they find the oxys. I should have ate them, I didn't. Anyways, ended up going to jail. Stayed there for a while. When I got out, my brother-in-law ended up moving to Vegas. My brother-in-law has always been like my rock, man. He was my best man at my wedding. But he was always like he would drink and he would hold parties at his house, but he was always like that's all he did.
Yeah.
And so he moved out here to Vegas to start the telemarketing company out here, just a different division. And when I got out of jail, he was like, "Dude, you got a chance. Come out here, meet new people, get away from the crowd you're hanging out with, because it's nowhere good." I came out here. I was clean for a little bit, but then I just found the same riffraff. Ended up going through it there as well. Ended up getting into heroin. Ended up at that time I was shooting up at that time.
Oh,
I mean,
shit.
it was not a good path to be in.
So hold on, when you got back into it, you say you moved to Vegas. Was it the telemarketing job that kind of brought that back around? Like the same people were doing the same kind of shit?
Yeah, so I think later on I started to realize that. It just spiraled out of control. I ended up basically overdosing. One of my friends, I'll never forget, I was trying to get clean. I'd probably been like 2 or 3 days clean, hurting. And then I ended up getting drunk, and I was like, fuck it, I'm out. I gotta go find it. So I called my boy, we go pick up, and he's like, "Dude, you sure? Like, that's a lot." And I was like, "Man, this is no problem." And I just remember it taking my breath away, like, and I was like, "I gotta stand up." So I went to stand up and opened the door to the truck, and I don't remember anything after that, but he said that I just hit the ground, sounded like a bowling ball. He ran around, he was just pounding on my chest. So I woke up on the way. He was taking me to the emergency room. Thank my God, he was a good dude. Like, he was like, "Dude, I was taking you right to the emergency room. I wasn't letting you die on me." Anyways, so later on, fast forward a little bit, I had probably a month or two later had some other tragic stuff happen to me and my family, and I wasn't there to protect one of the people that protected me the most in life.
Yeah.
And that hurt. And it was because I was where I was at. I was selfish. So I was like, you know what? I need to get clean. So I quit cold turkey, went probably a week or 2 weeks, and my good friend Danny, he's like my mentor, man. He was like, "Hey man, come work out with me." He's like, "I got this personal trainer. Come start working out with me. We're training to do a Spartan race." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I started doing that, and I fell in love with fitness. I think fitness saved my life. I talk about that a lot. Because it was the one thing that helped me stay clean. It was probably a month out before I started working out, but when I did, I remember I wasn't sleeping at all. I was still rolling, tossing, turning, hurting. And that first day I worked out, I finally caught like 4 hours of sleep. And
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, yes, let's go. So I just went back, and like I was always just, let's get it.
Back to the, so you say you start shooting up. How long was that phase of life to where you got to that point?
Probably like a year. So
A year of just shooting up?
yeah, I was hurting one day. My friend had it, and he was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna share unless you shoot up."
What the fuck?
Yeah, and
Did you contemplate it at all, or you were kind of like, all right,
yeah,
fuck
I was
it?
like, "Come on, man, fuck that." I'm like, I hurt. Like, come on, just. But I ended up doing it. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was on me. It wasn't on him. You know,
How was the feeling
he was just
the first time when you shot up?
Incredible, man.
Really?
Yeah, incredible. It's a feeling like, yeah, you'll never forget it.
Fuck, that's crazy.
But
would you say
awful at the same time.
Would you say, because I've never done heroin, I've done some things, but like from the way movies and everything, but depict sick when people do it, you know, like how they fall and not fall, but like they kind of just Would you say that's kind of accurate?
Yeah, Requiem for a Dream is one of the most accurate
fire
shows.
fucking movie, man. That's crazy. I'm glad you said that.
Like he steals from his mom. Like you become a different being, and it's awful, man. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. It's I don't know. It's a great feeling, yeah. But there's so much better feelings out there in life.
100%.
You know, to be able to smell my son's head, or to be able to, you know, hold my kids, hold my wife, like that's a much better feeling looking back on it. So it's always good that life, you know, stacks up and
So I'm glad
and helps you when you need it.
I'm glad you brought them up, because that's kind of, because you're going the fitness route, and I'm sure that's, to my knowledge, that's how you met your now wife. So let's go back to that.
I was finally getting clean, and like you had asked earlier, telemarketing just wasn't the route for me. Like it wasn't helping me. So I quit, left, started looking for whatever. I was looking for like waitress jobs or whatever, you know, waiter jobs. Anyways,
That's cute.
Yeah, very cute. It's fitting also. But ended up finding a door-to-door job at Winter Farms. Did door-to-door sales for a little while. That was fun.
What were you selling?
Milk. $12 milk from the cow to your door, dude.
Bro, what the fuck kind of shit?
It was great. We would help them build out their groceries and like just stack it up. It was good. But that personal trainer had opened up Orange Theory, and he was always like needing salespeople. And he didn't really trust me because I was still getting, like I was probably 2-3 months clean. I mean, when he first got to know me, I was like a month clean.
So this is the trainer. So your boy hit you up, come with me and my trainer
to work out.
And then that trainer opened Orange Theory.
Yeah, well, he was recruited to be the head coach.
Okay.
So he was opening it up, and he's like, we really need salespeople, because they were in pre-sales. So it was like nothing. It was just 4 walls. And that's where I met Steph, is right then. So he had hit me up finally. He's like, hey, Danny told me that you should really stop by Orange Theory. And I was like, bro, I don't sell juices. I'm good, bro. I'm selling $12 milk. It's so dumb at the time.
I thought the same shit, though. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
Anyways, so he's like, just come by. Just come check it out. So I went and met the owner, Eric Lacroix. Dude, coolest dude. And I was like, yeah. He's like, so what are you selling that? I was like, I sell $12 milk from the cow to your door. He's like,
from the cow to your door? That's so funny.
And because he was like explaining, like, there's nothing here. So that's the hard part. Like, we have nothing to sell. And then once I said, and he looked at me, he's like, you're perfect. So when do you want to start? And I was like, whoa, bro. But he made me a good offer at the time. So I was like, hey, you know, I wasn't doing nothing. I took it. I remember Danny at the time was like, dude, you're working in Orange Theory. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, honestly, bro, like I was restarting. Like that was my restart button. And I was probably about 8 months clean then. Coming up on a year, I know that. Maybe a little bit longer. But from there, I met Steph. Steph was at the desk. She was doing pre-sales. She was a coach at the time. Very shy. Didn't talk to anybody. And she always remembers because I gave chocolate milk to everybody except for her. But she had Winter Farms already. So I was like, oh, so you know what I mean? Like, let these guys have the chocolate milk. Anyways, started pre-sales there. That was fun. I really loved selling fitness, especially coming from, selling telemarketing, where I didn't really feel like I was impacting people's lives in a good way. And that ultimately, I think, weighed a lot on, drug use as well. But got into Orange Theory. I remember getting this text message from a lady one time, and she's like, it was a long text, and talking about how I helped save her life. And I was at the Chipotle down there handing out free sessions, and she was very rude. I don't remember her being rude, but I was just very polite. No worries. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your lunch. And she came in a month later. Anyways, in the text, she tells me, she was on the verge of killing herself. And it was more than any money. It made such an impact on my life. And still know her to this day. She's an amazing lady. And that's when I was like, man, I really love this. And so I really didn't mind persuading and helping people to do something that was good for them.
Yeah.
I believe the true wealth is your health. And I used to always say that. The true wealth is your health. You know, you can rely on this. So from there, we moved to San Francisco, helped open up Orange Series there, helped open up Orange Series in Hawaii. Came back, ran 2 studios, and then Steph became the regional. That's why I ran into you. But through Orange Theory really helped kind of mold me to what I love to do. And I love to impact and help people. And just to see like what you've done, right? Like that's huge. Like that to me is more than anything. To see like when you would come in and you like didn't really know what direction you wanted to go, but man, you found it. And then you hit the ground running. And I remember you'd come in and study, do your calls, do everything you had to do, and then get back to studying. Like you were at it, you were on it. And to see people, that light bulb flick on for people, that's priceless. So, but Steph and I ended up having some kids. So I ended up having to make more money to provide for my family.
How many kids?
3 now. I have 2 boys, Jordan and Jackson.
Okay.
Jordan's my oldest, 5. And my
5.
Yeah, Jackson's 3, and then Addie's almost 2. She'll be 2 in August.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so I went to Hilton, worked there for a while. I enjoyed that job so much. It was a lot. But as everything, I believe you have to grow and you have to take on uncomfortable moments. So then I moved to a completely different field. I mean, still sales.
Yeah.
But, you know, just trying to adapt, change, and be the best version I can be for today.
Damn.
Yeah.
Great story, man. You know, it's the Orange Theory thing is wild. Like, because it literally, like I mentioned in the beginning with Henry, you know, it's you meet some great people because they're all there for the same exact reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To improve themselves, get better. And it's like, especially when we're working there for hours, we're seeing multiple classes. We're seeing hundreds of people a day, all with the same goal in mind. And it's crazy you brought up the stuff with me because the thing that went through my head when I first went to Orange Theory, obviously I didn't know what it was, but it was a gym and my goal was I want to be a trainer. Let me get my foot in the door to work front desk somewhere and then obviously grow. Then when I got there and I started working, I never sold. Even though I'm outgoing, I can talk, I'm not cold calling people, bro. You want me to call people who took a class 3 years ago? And that's why I think you're so good at what you do, because there was times you would give us talks and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I can sell this fucking shit. You would make me feel and believe that, like, all right, let me sell this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then eventually not comfort came, but eventually I got better with him and felt more comfortable doing the calls and finding my way of doing things. But the one thing that happened that I knew when I first met you and I knew I fucked with you was day one, right? Day one on the job, I came, you're like, all right, walk with me. We're going to walk around the area and hand out flyers for, you know, free classes.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, man, fuck this shit. I'm not trying to walk in. It's crazy to think, because at that point in time, I wasn't that comfortable with just approaching people and talking and this and that. At that point in my life, I would have to be real comfortable to want to be as outgoing as I am now. Now I don't care. But anyways, the first day I worked with you, we're walking, whatever, and you were telling me, you were like, yeah, bro, I've been clean 7 months heroin. I looked and I'm like, what the fuck? Because at that point, I never knew anybody personally.
At that point, it was like 7 years.
Yeah. And the fact that you had opened up about that and you were so, you know, obviously proud of that. And to me, I'm like, damn, bro, you don't just go and tell people, you don't think people just say stuff like that to others. And I felt like, damn, this dude's like real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shit, I could fuck with him. And as of now, how long are you sober?
December 12th, 2012. So
coming up on 12
December
years.
6th, sorry, 2012. So yeah.
Coming up on 12 years.
12 years.
12 years sober, bro.
Yeah.
And at that point in my life, I was drinking and smoking, whatever, and I never thought I had a problem or anything. So it's crazy now when I fast forward now, here I am going on my first year of sobriety, 2 years without liquor.
Congrats on that.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. People like you are some of the people who inspire me and think like, bro, change can literally happen. That's why I want this podcast to let people know where you're at right now or where you used to be. Bro, that can change when you fucking want. You know, you don't have to wait till you get a job. You don't have to wait till you get a coach. You don't have to wait till you get whatever. You literally just got to make a decision in your head like, this ain't for me no more, bro. I need to do something today that's going to leave that old person behind.
Yeah.
And then we worked at Orange Theory together for a few years. Or not a few years. A few months. Yeah, it was like 6 months.
Yeah.
Because then I left, went to the dispensary, and then I moved to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about all the time, the joke when we see each other. But what was your thoughts when you the interview process with me?
Oh, I like that you were of Spanish descent.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I am,
Yes.
technically, but
Yes.
that's so fucking
Spanish
funny.
descent.
Another thing,
I'm losing my words now.
actually, reason I knew I fucked with you too was because you liked E.T.
Hip hop preacher.
We used to talk about Eric Thomas all the time.
He also saved my life.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
me as well. And that's where I knew I connected with you. Because I'm like, hearing the story, like he's 7 years sober now. At the time, I think it was 7 years. You listen to E.T., you used to love J. Cole, Middle Child. That was your song. You'd always play it in the lobby. And I'd be like, okay, I fuck with Max, bro. You were honestly, I gotta think. Yeah, you're probably the best boss I ever had. Yeah,
Thank you.
100%, bro. Like, literally, and I'm glad that I wanted you on it because I want to be able to share this with you and stuff like that. Because over the past few years, there's been times where I talk to people because I've been telling my story. So I tell them, what happened, how I got into fitness with Orange Theory, and I always bring up, man, I'm like, bro, you sell salt to a snail. Like, this fucking white dude was fucking literally very pivotal because, like you said, I didn't know where I was going to go with life. I didn't. I knew I wanted to be a coach. I didn't know how to be I didn't know until you gave me the opportunity at Orange Theory to be a sales associate. And it was you guys, your wife, Monica as well. I remember I used to go to work 2 hours early because I didn't have a laptop at home. I would use the office space in the break room to study for my NASM test for 2 hours. I would take class, study for 2 hours, shower, and then clock in and work. And I remember you guys kept not pressuring me, but telling me like, "Hey, bro, we need a coach. Like, are you gonna get certified or what?" And I was like, "Fuck, man, they're right." And then I just scheduled my test. Like, you know what? I'm gonna schedule it a day before my birthday, so that way when I fucking pass, I'm not just celebrating another year for nothing. Like, I hit a milestone. So if it wasn't for you guys pushing me and honestly believing, I don't think I ever would have become the coach I became. Not even just the coach, the person. Because I didn't think I'd be able to be a coach like I was at Orange Theory. Like, I had an idea because of my energy and my vibe, but you guys definitely saw something in me before I ever did. And then once I got into Orange Theory, man, that's just, I always recommend, I think people who first start out as trainers, go work at Orange Theory, bro. Because I feel like when you work there, you can become the best coach ever, as opposed to vice versa. Like, I don't care how many bodybuilding shows you do, how many certifications you got. When you could run a class of 24 different personalities, I'm talking about from black, white, Asian, 13 years old, 70 years old, fit, and you got to really motivate. I got to motivate you on the treadmill. I got to make sure Steph is not hurting her back on the deadlift. And not only that, you got to keep time. So when I started transitioning to one-on-one private coaching, it was like, oh, bro, it's almost easier. It was hard because I was so used to a group, though, like high energy, like I'm trying to get my clients to get going. Like, bro, I'm just doing my lunges, relax. But I'm like so used to the hypeness. But yeah, man, I definitely want to let you know that because very pivotal, you and your wife, because your wife is the one that certified me through Orange Theory. Like, and it's crazy because now I don't know how they do the certification Orange Theory for coaching. I think it's different. But back then, bro, I had to do 40 hours of working out. It was Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and you're working out all day.
Yeah.
All day. And shout out to Steph.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, babe.
Yeah. Didn't
Love
forget
you.
Leo season, baby. That's why I rock her. She Leo. I don't know why she's with you, but
No. Gemini? No.
But yeah, man, it's been a crazy journey, man. Now, and it's cool to sit down and talk now because once you left, or I left Orange Theory, then you left, and obviously that was what kept us in close quarters.
Yeah.
But we still stayed in contact, you know what I mean, throughout the years, and I got love for you and your wife and
same
everything you guys do. Like, they inspired me to do the charity work I do now. Like, you know what I mean? We did events together, but seeing them take off and do it makes me like, okay, fuck, I can do this too. And like, I need to be doing it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like people fuck with like people. And I think that's, why we stayed in such close contact is because you know, we're definitely like, we want to see growth in each other. We want to see growth in ourselves. And I think when you start to get on that side of, I am not trying to compete with anybody but myself and make myself better, you are more willing to look at the next person and see how you could help them and pass that along. Because, you know, the one thing I know is I know nothing.
Mm.
And the more I work with you, the more you work with me, the more we work together and the more we know together. And I believe in that. And I believe in helping people. My intent is to always help.
And it's crazy because you could still help people in any. You're not even in the fitness space anymore, but you're still in a way still helping people. And it's crazy the growth and different ways you can help others.
Yeah.
I like what you said about the text earlier because that's kind of some of the stuff that I liked when I was working Orange Theory when I first started, was when you get the message or somebody in person tells you, like, you don't even think and know what they're going through,
Yeah.
but they'll let you know, like, man,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then you get those
Yeah.
people who come in very out of shape, very
Yeah.
low confidence, don't want to talk to nobody.
Yeah.
But then it was so crazy to see certain people. You'll see them lose the weight. You'll see them excited to show up, fucking saying high fives to everybody. And it,
Dude, smiling at the person in the mirror again.
yeah.
You know, and that was always something I wanted to help them do. Be able to smile back at that person that's, you know, and love that person that's in the mirror, because that's huge. And I loved that about Orange Theory. That was one thing I think back on the coaching side of things is I think they do a great job at putting the customer first, because when you're a personal trainer, it's all about what they're going through, their experience, and how you could better it and move them along. And sometimes, you know, coaches forget about that and look at me, look how I am. You should do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that you lose that human touch with them as well, you know, because again, it isn't about you. They're wanting to transform themselves. So it's all when they're paying, it's all about them. But as any good person,
It is about them. And they always, I think what was important too with the coaching space of things is when you make that person feel seen and heard and understood, not just like another number in a room.
Yeah.
Right now, my longest standing client I have is still with me, and she took my class first in Orange Theory of 2020 and followed me to 3 different gyms, and she's still my client to this day. And I always asked her, and she told me that was why. Because during one of the classes, I made her feel like she was important. Like, I remembered her name. I remembered everything about her. And that's one thing I was good at. I remember people's names, and I'm nosy, so I ask questions.
Yeah.
You married? How many kids? Sometimes it's because the lady's hot, so I'm trying to see, like, all right, you married? Like, okay, you're not. Interesting. You know, but it's, Orange Theory is definitely a vibe, man. It was a good time in life. I'm glad I went through it. It taught me a lot about life, and especially with coaching, man. Been crazy.
Yeah. It's so funny, the things I could relate back to, the connections I have now in life, the people I know.
Yeah.
You know, all through Orange Theory. Yeah, it was a good job. I really enjoyed that job. Yeah, for sure. I definitely loved meeting people like yourself and, you know, watching your development and your growth. And, you know, seeing one thing when I was getting clean, I was watching a lot of movies, and I remember watching American History X. And
wow. Fire.
He was asking, like, he was just in jail at that scene, and he's with the doctor, or he's not the doctor, but he's the teacher, the principal, right? And he's in there, and he's like, you keep asking, why does, you know, this life keep happening to you like this? Have you ever asked yourself, what are you doing to change your situation? And that hit hard for me at that moment in time, because I do believe I was always asking, you know, why wasn't my dad in my life? Why did I get it this way? Why did I get it that way? And until I started saying, what am I doing to change my situation, to make my life better, the life I want it to be? And that's why I always loved E.T. Start making the rest of your life the best of your life. Yeah, I mean, that guy was fire. And so to see yourself where you came in, and let's say even from your accident, you know, I remember when you were like, man, I can't do legs. But look at you now.
Oh, that's true.
You know what I mean? So all the time we say we can't do something, but it's really just the excuse we're allowing ourselves to accept. Instead of, okay, what's one small little thing I can do to change that? today and then grow into a bigger thing, right? How do you eat the elephant in the room?
One piece at a time.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. Wow.
Yeah.
What about E.T. was one of Eric Thomas, for those who don't know, hip hop preacher. What was one of the first things or he said or you saw that kind of captivated you and you were like, damn, and then kind of made you want to get into him more?
The secret to success.
Mm.
I watched that video. That was one of the first. And then I remember that was back when he was, he was just going around to colleges.
Yeah.
He wasn't. And I remember one of his YouTube, Thank God It's Mondays, out on the railroad tracks. And that hit hard for me because I was making a lot of excuses for myself. Well, I can't do this because of that. Well, that. And I remember he was like, your auntie just died. So what? Get up. You just went through a divorce. So what? Get up. And that hit me. You could sit there and take what life has to hand to you and accept it and curl up in a ball, or you can make the most of it. And you could show life like, hey, I'm going to hit back. Yeah, it's going to hurt, but I'm going to get back up and I'm going to hit back. And I love that kind of aspect about E.T. Another one that I love is when he talks about Bane and Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. He's like, Batman hits Bane. Bane's like, what is that? Victory has defeated you, Batman.
Yeah.
And then he he knocks him down. Batman starts shooting out the lights. And Bane's like, the dark? The dark, Batman? You accepted the dark. I was born in it.
Ooh.
And he's like, I was molded by the dark. And that resonates with me. Like, right? Like let those hard times make you the person you are today. And that's why I think it's so easy for me to talk about my addiction, because that's what made me who I am today. That's why it's easy for me to now talk about, my growing up and my past and my history. It's because it's made me who I am today. And you could either let that break you or you can get back up, dust yourself off and hit back.
I don't know why I've said that. If you remember me saying this to you before, but I don't understand why you've never thought of, maybe you have, of getting to speaking.
Yeah.
Because there's times, bro, when we used to work with you, and like I said, you would make me feel like, damn, maybe I'll buy an Orange Theory membership and I work here. You know what I mean? Like, especially with your story, you know what I mean? You're definitely not the only person who overcame addiction.
Yeah.
There's literally people there right now at a meeting trying so hard. Everybody's counting on them. And you not only stopped, but you became successful with what you do and got even better, found your wife, had your 3 kids. Like, you're doing the damn thing. Like, if I met you and saw, how everything operates now, like with you and your family, this and that, never would have guessed you defeated heroin 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that something you ever thought about doing or getting into?
All the time.
Is it in motion, or is it something you're kind of nervous about, or what's stopping you from?
I would say nervous, and I think some of the things that I need to grow in my own personal area is, stop making excuses on why you can't and just start doing what you're doing now. Like even you and Adam, it's so awesome to watch you guys just take action. And I always say it, action over everything. But, my kids are in a certain age of their life, and I really prioritize them over even myself now in fitness. I mean, fitness has even fallen back for me.
Yeah.
I was listening to a Jocko podcast, and he was just Q&A, and he was like, I'm a single father. How do I find, because I'm when I hit the gym, I want to put my headphones in. We're doing superset to triple set, and we're going in. Like, we're not here to talk, boo-boo, Yeah. Like, I don't know what you were doing. But when you have kids, it throws that monkey wrench in your program and when you can do it. And so they talked about, like, you really just got to adapt. And hey, if your kid's eating dinner, maybe you're doing kettlebell swings. And I was like, that's fired. Like, don't give yourself excuses, because you really do. But I try to put them in front right now.
Yeah.
I don't think one thing that's the most important thing in me in life is to be able to go fishing with them, to be able to just watch them grow up, because I don't feel like I got that with my dad. So I want to make sure that I get that with them and they get it from me. So I'm really just trying to develop more as a father, because Lord knows I'm not the best in that department either, and I need to get better each and every day. So that's really where I'm trying to grow now. And so down the road, may I get into speaking? Yeah, I definitely think that I will. I love to help impact people. And so I'm only doing myself a disservice and my purpose and what I feel in life by holding that back from the public.
I heard a quote just 2 days ago where the gentleman was speaking about kind of similar to what you said, you know, people who want to inspire others, who want to help others. And he says, you can inspire others if you continue to play small. And I was like, damn, brother, shit, you right.
Speak.
You're right. Because there's times and moments in certain aspects of my life or things I'm hold like this, the podcasting. I've talked about it for 6 months that I was going to do it. Like I had the goal to get it done in the first quarter. And what happens is the first quarter comes and goes and I feel like, fuck, I didn't do what I was going to say. I hate being that kind of person.
Yeah, that's it.
I have this one homie, shout out my boy Jeff Kuhn, best oral surgeon in Miami. I went to Miami for Christmas and I went to high school with him. And I told him about it. Hey, bro, I got this podcast. I'm working with my life coach, my business coach, sober wellness. I want to drop this podcast. He's like, all right, when's it dropping? I was like, in a few weeks. Every few days, he would reply to my stories from Christmas all the way. Where's the pod, bro? Drop the pod. Where's it at? Fuck. And I'm like, damn, Jeff Kuhn. Fuck.
Oh, yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, and it's funny because he's a white dude, Mormon kid, and the last name is Kuhn.
My boy.
In high school, we used to go to his house, and they had a big thing that said the Kuhn family. And I used to be like, oh, okay. Great people, by the way. I hope he doesn't get upset, but great people, man. His mom, his sisters, his dad, they were great people, man. Like, but it's funny. Like, we used to crack some jokes. But yeah, man, I definitely hope you do, because you got some value to add to the world. You know, something your kids are going to look back on, and when they see this and hear you talk about it, like this is the first time you've shared your story in this kind of space.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that's all you need, man. I'm telling you, the more you do it, the more you're going to get the confidence, the more you're going to start remembering, the better you're going to get how to elaborate it better.
No, for sure.
But you already tell stories very well. Is there anything you do now to help you continue to develop as either a father, a person, a husband, books, podcasts, anything that you do?
Yeah. I love sales in my profession and what I do. So, I mean, I just geek out on that a lot, honestly, probably too much.
Yeah.
I'll listen to YouTube videos all the time. So my last job, I had running notes in my phone of my script and just overcoming objections, objection handling, just different things. Shout out to Andy Elliott. He's phenomenal. But like he says, you should have five objections to overcome, like the one objection, like the different ways you could overcome it, right? And have that down pat like the back of your hand. And I'm a huge believer in scripts just because it gives you the ability to listen to what the customer is telling you, rather than like, oh shoot, what am I gonna say next? Like, you really can listen without anything of the background noise in your head. So I would always be updating it though and changing it. And it's funny because in your notes, if I share my notes with you, it'll tell you when it's updated. So my good friend Sean, he always is like, man, Max, dude, it would be like 11:56 at night and you would just see edits from the notes. Or it would be like 8 in the morning, you'll see edits from the notes. So things like that. And then I'm big into church right now. I'm big into volunteering. Shout out my wife and her bestie, Monica.
Yeah.
They do a lot in the community to help. So I'm trying to give back in those ways right now. And then, yeah.
All right. Well, man, I do truly appreciate you being on here, sharing your story. Like I told you, man, I got to give you flowers because you definitely impacted me so much, bro. Like literally, for those who don't know, some people call me Coach D-Train. This is the man that coined it. We were working at Orange Theory, and he was talking about some movie with Jack Black called D-Train. So then he just said, my boy D-Train.
Don't go pull it.
And I just kept running with it.
Yeah.
The reason why I kind of stopped saying it a little bit, I kind of like it still, but one time I was training this girl I went to high school with. I was training her, and she came to train one day, and she said some guy commented on her picture or her video on Facebook and was like, D-Train. I would have let my girl work out with no guy named D-Train. I'm like, fuck.
So true.
I had to think about it. I'm like, you're right. I train, most of my clients are women and they have husbands and boyfriends. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to drop the D-Train. I'm going to go coach Cardi D. It's funnier. They might not trip as much.
That's good.
So that's kind of why I eased off, but I always keep it because that was the first staple. And I used to feel cool because once Instagram was going, you kind of want that cool name. Like, you know what I mean? I want just Dorian. I'm like, oh, D-Train. Yeah,
dude. Yeah, it was fun.
So yeah, man, I appreciate you being open, sharing your story, man. You went from a heroin addict to a hero, man. Plain and simple.
Oh, thank you.
That's literally what you are, like, for your kids, the community, your wife, for me. Like,
thank you for that.
I'm very grateful that we've been friends all the time, bro. From 2018 till now, it's almost 6 years. Before we finish up, I want you to, what's one piece of advice you would give somebody who is trying to transform and grow as a person?
You are worth it. You deserve it. You can do it. It ain't gonna be easy. There's gonna be days you want to quit. There's gonna be days you want to give up. But I promise you, on the other end of that is so much glory. So just stick with it. One step at a time, one piece at a time. That's how you eat the elephant. That's how you tackle the goal. And don't give up. You got this.
Woo! That is fire. Okay, Max T. One more thing, guys, before you go, I want to let you know, I need you to come help support Black businesses on August 17th at 3 p.m. Health is Wealth Black Business Expo. We'll be having small Black business vendors, also a panel of speakers talking on different facets of health, which include emotional, social, financial, spiritual, and physical health. Some of our speakers include, let me go over this real quick. Where are my notes at? Some of the speakers at this event include Gabby Funches, Brendarius Johnson, Ann McDowell, Rob Lacey, Yvette Howard, and Devin Moore. So some great speakers here in the Las Vegas community. August 17th at 3 p.m. Health is Wealth Black Business Expo. Link is in the bio. I want you there. Thank you for tuning into the Bamboo Season podcast. Keep transforming. Keep growing. 2 words. We out.
Peace.